Part 12. The Interview. I met Alex about 3 years ago through a social networking site, and we were in a relationship for about 2.5 years. Around 3 years, actually. It was closed for 2.5, opened for a few months, and then closed again when we promised each other to only have sex with each other again. But it wasn't really steadily through that period. It was more on and off, and by, I think, September of last year, I really didn't want to be in a relationship with him anymore, but we still saw each other as friends a little bit. We basically never stopped having sex though, therefore we never truly returned to being just friends. We basically went from becoming friends to entering a closed relationship to opening it for a while before finally closing it again. And there was actually an incident in September of last year which was really disturbing and showed some disturbing behavior by Alex. Oh, like when it seemed as though you betrayed me for a complete stranger at a nightclub that turned out to be your date? I was out with some friends at a law school event, and we were dancing downtown somewhere, and Alex was there coincidentally, and he kind of aggressively tried to get close to me. We were in an open relationship. We were having sex. How could you have a problem with us dancing closely? I was being aggressive? I was drunk, and perhaps I was a bad dancer. All you had to do was tell me to take it down a notch, and I would've. And I kind of wanted him to back off. By promising to dance with me again later? How hard could it have been to tell me to take it down a notch? I truly thought you were going to rejoin your friends for a bit, and then return. And he was actually kicked out of the nightclub where we were at. For trying to get you away from a complete stranger with his arm around you. I felt so betrayed. Open relationship or not? Ditching a dance with someone you've loved the most for 3 years to flirt with a random stranger is cruel. I didn't know he was your date. I didn't know you lied when you promised to dance with me again later. I didn't know I was dancing aggressively. I didn't know you were encircled by your friends, for I had never seen them before. You were just standing there, and I was so confused. I couldn't hear anything being said because the music was too loud, and I couldn't think rationally because I was drunk. It was all a giant misunderstanding, but instead of communicating with me, you and your date, whom I thought was a complete stranger at the time, watched me get dragged out. It was one of the most sickening feelings at the time. I felt like a complete stranger instantly replaced me. It's different with a date because you were expected to stay with him. And later that night, he came to my house at 1 o'clock in the morning and aggressively pounded at my door. I wanted to know how you could instantly replace me with a complete stranger and then watch the bouncers drag me out. Every second I spent thinking about it was pure pain. My heart was on fire, and I wanted you to put it out. I wanted answers. And he actually climbed over the gate to get into my apartment building, aggressively pounded at the door, and just disturbed my neighbors a lot and was yelling and shouting. Imagine you were dancing with me at a nightclub. I instantly replaced you with a complete stranger, and then watch you get dragged out for merely trying to get me away because you had no clue what was going on. It's a horrible feeling, and I needed answers or I felt like I was going to die. I was also still pretty drunk. We got past all of this, and you still promised to only have sex with me again. If the nightclub incident was such a big deal, you would have respected my choice to become just friends again, instead of constantly bugging me to have sex with you again. And eventually we just let him into the building, because we were just really tired, and then he stayed a while and then went home, so that was one disturbing incident. Disturbing because you disturbed me. But then most of the disturbing incidents that resulted in me calling the police were back in January, when I tried to completely break up with him because I just didn't think it was working out. That's when I had just moved close to you, after you kept threatening to stop visiting me at my previous home in New Westminster because it was too far. I wanted to become just friends again due to your meanness and inability to communicate, nightclub incident, but you kept bugging me to have sex with you again. Then you promised to only have sex with me again, and looked me in the eyes to tell me that you didn't even want to kiss other guys. Unfortunately, I trusted you, and we made out in your bedroom. A few days later, a troll, whom I had nothing to do with, exposed you as a lying, cheating whore. I ended our friendship that day, and I wish I never looked back. Had you kept your promise or respected the fact that I just wanted to be friends again, perhaps we'd still be friends to this very day. Instead, you revealed that you'd lied to me solely to have sex with me, and I still feel violated. So no shit it wasn't working out. I just didn't like his attitude anymore. How did you expect me to react to being cheated on and lied to? He was very jealous and possessive of me. Because you thought I was the troll, right? I had nothing to do with the stupid troll. You only want to believe that I did so that you have something to shield your guilt. The troll clicked on the link on my YouTube channel that brought him to my tagged profile, where he found you amongst the rest of my few tagged friends. It's not rocket science to understand. Everyone knew that you were my girlfriend on YouTube due to a couple of your videos that I had on my channel. The troll sent me screen caps of the conversation via Facebook. I later got so angry that I closed my YouTube channel. Stop falsely accusing me of having anything to do with the stupid troll. If I actually had anything to do with the troll, how could you accuse me of rightfully acting on my suspicions to reveal the truth? Would it have been better to bottle the suspicions and continue living a lie? I think not. And so I thought it would be better if we just don't talk to each other for a while. Yeah, 5 months that you brought down to 1, and then eventually down to 1 week, but only if I brought my new girlfriend to prove to you that she's real. Then on the day we were supposed to hang out again, you lied about being sick because you had spontaneously changed your mind about ever wanting to see me again. You toyed with my broken heart. And so at that point, he got very upset. Yeah, you think? And he had actually moved into my neighborhood at January. He used to live in New Westminster. Because you wanted me to live close to you. You kept threatening to stop visiting me at my previous home in New Westminster because it was too far. And at that point, a few days later actually, he was sending me a lot of emails, just kind of begging me to get back together with him. Because I was brainwashing myself to believe that I ruined everything. I couldn't understand why you hated me when you were the one who cheated, so that made me assume that I misunderstood you. I had yet to realize that you only hate me for finding out the truth. And being kind of aggressive in his language, and telling me what I did was wrong, and that my behavior was upsetting him, and he accused me of cheating on him, and made a bunch of accusations about me. What you did was wrong, and you know it. Your behavior not only upset me, it ruined the core of my being. You wouldn't stop stabbing me in the heart, and it sickens me that you're still blind to all this. You did cheat on me. Just because you didn't actually have sex with someone else, the fact that you planned to is equivalent to cheating. Had I never found out that you were going to have sex with someone else, you would have, and you and I know it. Online, you immediately agreed to have sex with him, and even tried to meet him at Starbucks. Even if you weren't going to have sex with him, the conversation alone destroyed the trust. Then you were going to have sex with me again, while I thought you were loyal. How can I know that you haven't already cheated on me numerously throughout our relationship? Why can't you just man up and apologize instead of making bullshit excuses? He also, I think it was mid-February, kind of assaulted. I merely hugged you and then held you. Those were not assaults. They could not have created an apprehension of immediate physical contact in the mind of a reasonable person. Perhaps they invaded your personal space, but that's about it. When he came up to me while I was walking out of my house on the sidewalk. Your home was en route between mine and Culprit. I arrived at Culprit for a hot chocolate after 9:30 a.m. I didn't think I'd run into you again, because I thought you already had started school. On my way back home, I heard the gate close around 10:15 a.m. I looked to my left to see you walking toward the road. I didn't want you to see me, because I didn't want you to think that I was stalking you, but I had so many questions that I decided to talk to you anyway. I walked diagonally toward you onto the grass, and there happened to be a few bushes between us when I talked to you. It looked like I was stalking you, but I wasn't. I probably should have approached you differently, or not at all. And he kind of grabbed me in a way that, because he just wanted me to stop on the street and talk to him, and he wanted me to explain why I wasn't talking to him anymore. I hugged you by impulse because I couldn't endure the pain of you cheating on me and then ignoring me any longer. I didn't know whether I loved you or hated you, for I didn't know whether you cheated or I misunderstood. I was so emotionally confused. I couldn't understand how you went from bugging me to have sex with you again to ignoring me again. My heart told me that it's over forever, but my mind didn't want to believe it. I let go, not because of the intervening man, but because I realized that you weren't going to hug me back. You never told me to let go, nor did you even try to break free. You just stood there like a statue. I didn't hug you to keep talking to you. I could have merely continued to walk with you, had I merely wanted to continue talking to you. So yeah, he physically touched me. I've physically touched you many times. Hell, we've even had sex many times. You didn't want me to touch you? Then you should have clearly indicated it vocally or physically instead of just emoting it. Your behavior wasn't logical, as it spontaneously changed since our last phone conversation, when our friendship seemed to be reviving. You physically hurt me many times. You've slapped me on my chest very hard at least 6 times, and even bit me once, yet I never told on you. You've actually assaulted me quite a few times. Even though I'm a man and you're a woman, your slaps and bites are worse than my hugs and holds. You even tried to pull me inside of a taxi once when I kept refusing. You're so selfish that you focused more on being touched than the pain you've caused me, and it's quite sickening. And there was another incident around the same time when I was trying to go home, and I saw him around 4th Avenue and was trying to get away from him because I just didn't want to talk to him, and he followed me into the back lane and actually physically grabbed me and tried to prevent me from going into my building. I briefly and non-violently held you because I feared that once you entered the door, I would never see you again. You kept telling me that you'd talk to me later. I didn't understand what was going on. We had planned to hang out just 3 days prior, and then you spontaneously ignored me again. I couldn't handle having my heart torturously played with any longer, and needed answers. You can't imagine the pain you've caused me. I couldn't sleep. Every second was breathing pure fire. I let go once you told me that it was over forever. That's when I fell to the ground crying, "I just want to die." "Then die," you said just before sprinting away like that was your chance to escape. Those words haunt me to this very day. So that was like a really disturbing incident for me, and then I just felt like my physical space was violated. Oh no, poor you. Was your physical space violated? Who cares about the man you hit, bit, cheated on, and ignored? What's more important is your personal space, and that's why you told me to die when I fell down and cried. It's so obvious that you're shielding your guilt that it's embarrassing. You make me sick. I think I did call the police at that point, further adding insult to injury. And then there was a little bit of pause in his behavior. He didn't do much for a few months, I think. And then around May and June, when he really started acting up again, and he would basically hang around very close to my apartment building, like a few blocks away. Yeah, minding my own business, sitting on a bench in free Wi-Fi, in the beautiful weather, surfing the internet. He would be sitting on the corner of the street, and I always felt that he was just kind of waiting for me, so that whenever he saw me on the street, he would come up to me and just bother me. Yeah, I occasionally approached you to talk to you to show you that I meant no harm, because I was sick of the glares I was getting from your mom. I just wanted to peacefully continue to live in the same area. I also wanted you to know that I was able to respect you when you told me to go. I almost always left immediately when you did, so you knew I wasn't a threat of any kind. You occasionally stopped and listened to what I had to say, like when I gave you the apology letter and diamond ring. I was still sitting on the benches and in the coffee shops for me, and not for you though. Actually, many times when I did encounter him on the street, he would actually come up to me and start talking to me, and in a loud voice usually, and it was just disturbing, and he would say that it was my fault that we kind of turned the tables around and started accusing me of certain things, and yeah, he would just try to talk to me whenever he saw me on the street like that. I only did that once at the bus stop when I discovered that you were spreading false accusations about me, once when you came out of nowhere to bug me when I was sitting on a bench, minding my own business, and once when, out of nowhere, you called me disgusting for blowing my nose. Every other time, I was as nice to you as possible, so that maybe we could eventually live peacefully in the same area again. My main objective was always to make peace. And he would send me emails, usually trying to make peace, and sometimes when he saw me on the street, he would try to give me letters and presents that I didn't want. Yet you took them all, read the letters, I saw you wearing the necklace one day on the bus, and you only gave me back the ring when trolls mentioned it when they kept leaving you phone messages. And yeah, sometimes I accepted them. You always accepted them. Because I just wanted him to leave, but I didn't really know what else to do. Walk away and decline? And the letters were pretty disturbing. Well, some of them weren't, but they were basically just kind of pleading me to get back together with him, and they seemed very obsessive, and yeah, that's pretty much what his behavior was like that led me to contact the police. For the longest time, I was brainwashing myself to believe that I ruined everything, and did everything I could to win you back, until I realized that all I ever did was justifiably react to your cruelty. You've had me so misunderstood, and made so many false assumptions and lies, that you've blinded yourself from the truth. All I ever wanted to do was make peace, but you kept seeing things differently. I wish you would have let me rot in peace on those benches while I tried to escape from the horrid reality that you bestowed upon me. It was your cheating on me that triggered the chain reaction of bullshit. Had you kept your promise, we'd still be friends to this day, and you know it." And then a recent incident was just a few weeks ago when he saw me on the street. After you alerted me by calling me disgusting for blowing my nose. While I was continuing home from work, and he followed me up to my apartment and not actually past the gate. See, had I actually wanted to enter the gate, I would have followed you through it. I wouldn't buzz you to open it later on. Obviously you weren't going to. I buzzed you to ask why you were standing by the intersection, waiting for me to walk up to you. It was really creepy. I never followed you. I happened to be walking past your house anyway. You synchronized our journeys when you waited for me to walk up to you. But at the gate, he was standing there, shouting, saying what happened to him led him to try to commit suicide, and like that was really disturbing. I actually tried to end the nightmare. I was drunk and took 10 Advil tablets, but part of me knew they wouldn't be enough. You don't understand how badly you hurt me. It wasn't just you though. My other former friends and family added to the pain. Everyone in my life disappeared, and I was all alone in hell. You caused the most damage though. The cheating, lying to have sex with me, telling your friend to tell me that he was going to have sex with you, playing games, telling me to die after I fell down and cried, ignoring me, police involvement, being trapped in your area. A man can only endure so much pain. I'm still in so much disbelief over your heartlessness. I have trouble trusting girls now, and have a permanent hatred toward mankind that I keep trying to bottle. You've hurt me so badly, and I will never recover from it. I can't believe you had me thrown in jail. I lived for many months, fearing that I would go to prison, only to have the harassment case be thrown out on the day of the trial. I never wanted it to be thrown out. I wanted to stand up and defend myself, but you robbed me of that. The happy memories of you sting, just as much as the sad. It's different with you because you're my first love. I wish I could change that. I wish I could erase you from my memory, but you keep coming back to haunt me in my nightmares. What I say is disturbing because you have disturbed me so much. I don't want to live on such a cruel planet any longer. I don't deserve the grief that has been bestowed upon me. All I want is to be understood, but nobody understands me. And he was telling me to reconsider. I didn't ask you to reconsider our friendship on that day. I knew that I never wanted to be with you again, when your lips merely quivered after I asked you whether or not you were going to have sex with that guy. That's when you silently walked away through the gate, and that's when I knew the truth. And explained to him why I was acting the way I was. I tried so hard to make peace with you. Even though you cheated on me and ignored me, I apologized for all of my mistakes and sold all of my consoles to give you a diamond ring. Yet you still treated me like shit. You still called me disgusting for blowing my nose and then scolded me. It didn't make any sense at all. And then yeah, he was also sending me emails during that time. Trying to make peace with you because I was sick of being treated like a freak when I was just minding my own business in my own area. There were times where I also called the police because he was just phoning persistently, like maybe 40 times in a row, so that kind of harassment was also something he did. Oh, you mean like the time when I discovered that you cheated on me, and instead of apologizing, or trying to convince me that you did nothing wrong, you ignored me for falsely believing that I had something to do with the troll? Then every time you picked up, you added fuel to the fire, like when you told me that you promised to only have sex with me because I was bugging you. The only way I could have possibly bugged you was the fact that I kept refusing to have sex with you. You were the one that constantly asked me to do so. I was the one that kept refusing. You basically told me that you had lied to have sex with me because I wasn't consenting. Therefore, you fraudulently gained my consent, and I feel sexually assaulted because we made out in your bedroom. Oh, and then you told me that you were going to have sex with the guy because he asked you to. Oh, and then you let your friend tell me that he was going to have sex with you. It's like every time you opened the door, you'd throw out gasoline onto the fire instead of water. Then you wouldn't open the door again, and I literally couldn't stop calling you because I was in so much pain. I felt like I was going to die. You don't do that to someone, especially after cheating on that person. That's so mean. All I wanted you to do was apologize or convince me that you did nothing wrong, but your stupid belief that I was the troll prevented you from doing that. It's as if you held on to that belief so that you could cowardly run away from your guilt. Then on the day we were supposed to hang out again, part of me knew that you would spontaneously change your mind about ever wanting to see me again when you lied about being sick. I couldn't stop calling you again because I didn't want to believe it. I wanted you to assure me that you truly were sick. Then I ran into you a couple of times. Your behavior had only twisted the dagger into my heart. As much as you hurt me, I still didn't want to lose you. You meant that much to me. Then there was one other day when I was drunk and I missed you so much. That was the same day I tried to end the nightmare. You were with him for approximately 2.5 years? Yeah. Around 3, actually. When did you, in your mind, leave this relationship? I think it was really in the middle of last summer. July 2012? Yeah. At that point, I didn't really want to be in a relationship. We both didn't want to be in a closed relationship anymore. That's why we opened it for a while. We basically never stopped having sex with each other once we started. Did you convey that to him? Yeah, I mean, I probably could have been clearer, but I guess I still wanted to keep up a friendship with him, so I still did that. And we continued to have sex with each other. What we did was merely turn a closed relationship into an open one for a while. We didn't end it. I probably should have been more assertive in saying that I didn't want to be in a relationship. Then why did you keep wanting to have sex with me? Again, we both wanted to open the relationship for a while. Then when I stopped wanting to have sex with you because I hated the open relationship due to your inability to communicate, we closed it again when we promised each other to only have sex with each other. I didn't know that you lied when you promised to trick me into consenting. What did you tell him in 2012, the summer of? Well, I didn't really tell him directly anything. I was traveling a lot that summer and working a lot, so I didn't really contact him that much, and I think he was also busy doing something. No, we just mutually agreed to open the relationship for a while. We just felt like having sex with other people too. You sort of evaded him? Sort of. So you lied when you said you were too busy with homework all of those times? When did you emphatically tell him this was over, or have you? Yeah, I have definitely through email and verbally in person, and that started I think in mid-February of this year. See, it was February after the police had contacted me, yet you told the police before that it was in January. Do you remember what you said to him? Well, at first, I had just stopped returning his phone calls and picking up the phone, and so I thought that was enough of a message, but when he persisted, I would just say leave me alone, like I don't want to see you again. Actually, after I ended our friendship when I saw you at Starbucks, you ignored me, we planned to hang out on February 8th, you spontaneously ignored me again, and then told me it was over forever. That's when I was holding you, not wanting you to disappear through the back door. That's when I fell to the ground crying, I just want to die, and that's when you replied, then die, just before you sprinted towards the door like that was your chance to escape. You occasionally continued to converse with me after that via email and in real life. You also accepted whatever I gave you, read all of my messages, and occasionally listened to what I had to say in real life. You also came out of nowhere to initiate contact with me in real life twice. There were 2 times after that you mentioned that he physically grabbed you. Yeah, it was 2 times. I briefly and non-violently hugged you and held you. Let's go back to the first time that he physically grabbed you. When was that? Mid-February of this year? What did he do? Well, I was just walking out of my apartment. I think it was to school or something. It was to school. How do you not remember that? And then he was behind a bush or a tree, and I couldn't really see him. I saw you when I heard the gate close on my way back home from Culprit. I thought about ignoring you because I didn't want you to think that I was stalking you, but my eagerness to know what was going on reigned over. I walked diagonally onto the grass toward you, and there was a few non-obscuring bushes between us when I talked to you. You probably thought I was waiting for you to come outside, behind them, but that's not what happened. I should have ignored you, or approached you differently, but I didn't really think about it at the time. But then he kind of rushed up to me, and kind of put his arms around me. Oh, you mean like a hug, right? And was trying to physically restrain me. I wasn't trying to physically restrain you. I hugged you by impulse because I couldn't endure the pain any longer, and thought you were going to hug me back. I let go once I realized you weren't going to. I didn't have a reason to restrain you. I could have continued to walk with you had I merely wanted to continue to talk to you. Why are you talking about this? I never told on you when you slapped me very hard on the chest, at least 6 times, throughout our relationship. I never told on you when you bit me. Why are you such a hypocrite? Who cares about the fact that I was crying on the ground in so much pain from everything that you did to me? What really matters is your physical space being violated. and questioning me, like why are you ignoring me, and what did I do wrong, like stuff like that. It didn't make any sense. The last time we had spoken on the phone, you really seemed to want to hang out with me the following week. On the day we were supposed to hang out, you lied about being sick. You also went from ordering me to bring my new girlfriend and joked about dumping the girl in front of you to spontaneously ignoring me again. I couldn't handle the games anymore. My heart was broken enough. I just wanted the nightmare to stop. I did nothing wrong, but you kept believing that I was the stupid troll. What made him stop? I think that it was because there was actually a third party, like a stranger on the street, kind of said like leave her alone, and that's when he let go of me. Actually, I let go once I realized you weren't going to hug me back. And I was like trying to get away from him as well. I still don't understand how you went from wanting to hang out with me again the following week, as long as I brought along my new girlfriend, to spontaneously ignoring me again. Could you not get over the fact that I found out the truth? Could you not stop believing that I was the troll? Why didn't you believe me when I told you I wasn't? I never lied to you. I'm glad you're out of my life now, though. You gave me a gift when you left it. I don't deserve you. Did he leave the area? Yeah, like I just went along my way and went into the bus, so I didn't really see where he went. Okay, so that was the first time, and when was the second? I think it was around the same time, so February or March, and I was just trying to come home from school, and I just saw him on the street corner. I think he was waiting for me, and he followed me back into the lane. I don't know why I went into the lane. I just didn't want to go the longer route to my house. I just wanted to take the shortcut to my house, because I didn't want to deal with him, so he followed me there, and then he physically touched me and grabbed me, trying to prevent me from going into the door in the back. I waited for you to return to play a song that you like with my saxophone. I thought it would make you talk. I followed you again when you ignored me again. I non-violently held you because I wanted to keep talking to you. I didn't want you to eternally disappear behind the back door. I was in so much pain and just wanted answers. You never told me to let go, nor did you try to break away. I let go and fell to the ground crying once you told me that it's over forever. You care about your personal bubble being invaded more than what you did to me? It's like some kind of a sick joke. I wish I could have contained myself better, but you wouldn't stop stabbing me in the heart. Thanks for making me feel like a woman beater. At least I never hit or bit you. And my mom actually had to come downstairs, and she was yelling at him to let me go. She didn't have to come downstairs. All you ever had to do was talk to me to calm me down. You kept stabbing me in the heart while ignoring me until I exploded. You are cruel and heartless. At least I talked to you when you broke down crying after you followed me 2 cities away. And then eventually I think we basically had to pry him away from the door. I feared that I would never see you again if you had went through that door. I tried to keep it open for a while so that I could keep talking and didn't want to face the silence that followed it being shut. Even though you had hurt me so badly, I didn't want you to go. I wanted you to apologize or convince me that you did nothing wrong. I didn't want to spend the rest of my life having to believe that you're a wicked monster. I wanted you to understand me. To try to understand my pain and stop falsely believing that I was the stupid troll. And he was very upset, and it was like pretty sad. I felt a bit sorry for him because he seemed very, very distraught. Which is why you told me to die after I fell down and cried. But like I just didn't want to see him, so I just went inside. Selfish bitch. When was the time that he told you that he was suicidal? A few weeks ago. Can you just tell me a little bit about that? Yeah, like he just followed me from the bus stop, and our paths kind of crossed when I was walking to 5th Avenue. There you go! Our paths almost crossed. I didn't see you exit the bus, follow you, or plan for our paths to almost cross. It's called a coincidence, you paranoid pig. Stop making me feel like a freak. And then he followed me to my house. You waited for me to walk up to you, and therefore when you continued to walk, I had happened to be walking in your direction. You went out of your way to synchronize our journeys, and therefore, you should have went out of your way to desynchronize them. In a way, you followed me. And he was upset with me for having accused him of stalking me, because I had told him to stop stalking me, stop following me, it's weird, it's creepy. Yeah, you came out of nowhere to initiate contact. You insulted me, and then falsely accused me of stalking you. Of course that had upset me. And then he was just like, I'm not stalking you. Why are you accusing me of that? I had to stand up for myself. And he came up to my house, which happened to be on the way back to mine from Culprit, and started yelling about how he was about to commit suicide. I couldn't stand living on a planet knowing someone as evil as you shares it. Again, it wasn't just you. My other former friends and family added to the pain. You hurt me the most, though, especially since you're my first love and we were best friends for nearly 4 years. We didn't have many friends, used to talk to each other every day, and were very open to each other. You were a big part of my life, and then it was as if though you killed me just before you died. You were never the girl I thought you were. It was all nothing but a giant illusion. I didn't actually try to kill myself though. I was drunk and took 10 Advil tablets, but part of me knew they wouldn't be enough. I basically attempted to try to end the nightmare. And he's like yelling in a very loud voice so that all the neighbors could hear. Oh no, the poor neighbors. And then I don't really remember exactly what he said except for that, and I just went upstairs right away. Were you going to sleep with him? You don't remember that question? The one you couldn't answer? When was the last time you were intimate with him? I believe last year, last summer. Lies! It was near the beginning of the year after we promised to only have sex with each other. We were making out in your room after you fraudulently gained my consent with your bullshit promise. I still feel like I was sexually assaulted. He was saying that if you called the police or upset me one more time, he was threatening to send this conversation to my friends. The police, out of nowhere, came and told me that I talked to you that day when I never did. I had talked to you a few days prior when you waited for me to walk up to you at the intersection, but that was the last time. At the time, I assumed that you were lying to them. I feared that you would continue to lie to them until they arrested me. Because I had already told them to tell you to leave me alone, I felt that I had no other choice but to tell you to stop lying to them, or that I would send the conversation to all of your friends. The threat was justified, for I had done nothing. I feared that I would inevitably go to jail anyway. Turned out that they had merely made a false assumption. And he was accusing me of being emotionally dangerous and saying that because of what I did, I messed him up. He was saying that he wasn't stalking me. Correct. And he gave me a link to this blog that he wrote that was quite disturbing. It was disturbing because you greatly disturbed me. With every reaction, there must have been an equal action. I deleted the blog after I was arrested so that nobody would copy it and twist my words around. It basically just called her out on everything that she did to me. Odd that you wanted me to stop talking to you, and yet you read all of my messages. You even occasionally conversed with me via email and in real life. Annoying is not harassing. When was the last time that you contacted Alex? A long time ago. I can't even remember. It hadn't been too long ago that you emailed me, yelling at me to tell Game Dude Official to delete the videos that he had of you, despite the fact that I have no control over that channel. It also hadn't been too long ago that you initiated contact by calling me disgusting for blowing my nose when you waited for me to walk up to you at the intersection. Intentionally wanting to communicate with him would probably be before January, because after that I didn't want to. Lies! The beginning of January is when you kept bugging me to have sex with you again. You also intentionally gone out of your way to call me disgusting for blowing my nose, and that had just been a few weeks ago. Not long prior to that, you came up to me when I was surfing the internet on my iPhone to yell at me. Sometime after February, you had even, out of the blue and via email, ordered me to tell Game Dude Official to delete his videos he had of you, and it wasn't even a response. It was a new conversation. Initiating negative contact counts. So January 2013? Yeah. Lies. The beginning of February is when we conversed for a while via phone, when our friendship seemed to be reviving. Then you called to confirm that we would hang out the following week if I brought along my new girlfriend to prove to you that she's real. You kept playing sick games with my broken heart, and then you spontaneously abandoned me in the dark. What was the nature of that contact, if you remember? Well, before that whole incident where I didn't want to talk to him ever again, I would just contact him to meet up as friends, like watch a movie, do social activities, or bug me to have sex with you again. So approximately January 2013, you were still together. Yeah, actually I think it was around Christmas. Lies! Everything was before January 18th when I found out that you cheated on me, and that was well after Christmas. When do you feel his stalking behavior began? Late January and February. January, when you cheated on me and then ignored me, and February, when you lied about being sick on the day we were supposed to hang out again, and then continued to ignore me. What was it that you felt pushed it to what you would consider stalking? Definitely when he moved into my neighborhood. Early January? That was just before you cheated on me, and you wanted me to live close to you. You kept threatening to stop visiting me at my home in New Westminster because it was too far away. You even went to my new home once where you bugged me to have sex with you again. And there would be days where he'd hang around, minding my own business, sitting on benches or around my favorite coffee shops that happened to be very close to where you live, yet still close to where I lived, surfing the internet on my iPhone. And it felt like he was just waiting for me to get off the bus. I couldn't even see the bus stop from any of the places I like to hang around. Well, except for maybe the chairs outside of Take 5 Cafe, but my eyes were always locked onto my iPhone anyway. Or to get out of my house. I couldn't see your home from any of the places I like to hang around. It was weird how he was constantly hanging around so close to my building, so that feels like stalking. It's not my fault that two of my favorite coffee shops in the neighborhood happen to be so close to where you live, yet still close to where I lived. I was too depressed to do anything else. All I wanted to do was escape reality by surfing the internet, but you couldn't even allow me to do that. You couldn't allow me to rot away in peace. Sometimes I'd play Mario Kart 7 online on my 3DS. Sometimes I'd watch movies or video game playthroughs on my iPhone. I'm a nerd. I'm addicted to the internet. I can be on it for hours on end. I love to sit on the benches in free, good Wi-Fi and in the beautiful weather, not having to buy anything, be able to bring food from everything, and talk loudly on Skype. I had told you that many times. Sometimes I'd read books, and every now and then I'd stare blankly into space, wondering how my first love and best friend for nearly around found years could become so evil. I was stuck in your area, and the internet was a way for me to escape the horrid reality that you bestowed upon me. And just the constant emails. You mean the ones you occasionally replied to negatively converse? Ignoring and negatively conversing are two different things. I also used a program that told me that you read them all. You didn't want me to talk to you, yet you always wanted to know what I said? Yeah, I kept emailing you because I had brainwashed myself to believe that I ruined everything, and tried every trick in the book to win you back. My mind had yet to clear. Now I'm glad you left my life. Please stay out of it. And many phone calls that I didn't pick up, and he would often block his number when he called. Excluding one other day, I only called you excessively before you told me that it's over forever. You blocked your number and called me many times when I ignored you in the past. And then giving me unwanted presents. You mean like the necklace you took that I later saw you wearing on the bus? Did I force you to wear it too? And what about the diamond ring that you took? You only gave it back sometime later after the trolls mentioned it in phone messages. I'm glad I got it back. You don't deserve it. Tell me how you conveyed to Alex that you wanted the behavior to stop, and how did he react to that? By simply telling him to leave me alone whenever I saw him on the street corner. And I almost always immediately walked away when you did. I only hesitated to leave nearer to the beginning. I wanted to show you that I meant no harm, and that I was able to leave you alone immediately when asked, and I did just that. Whenever you told me to go, I walked away immediately. I thought that would eventually let us make peace, so I would stop being bothered just because I sat on benches and around nearby coffee shops a lot. And I told him I don't ever want to see you again. Too bad. You were bound to see me again since we lived in the same area. Suck it up, princess. It's getting ridiculous how much you're bothering me. I wouldn't have been so bothersome had you not spread many false accusations and been so cruel. While I was brainwashing myself to believe that I ruined everything, I tried every trick in the book to win you back. At least now I know that you're even worse than I thought. And I also conveyed to him by simply ignoring him and walking away. Like you spontaneously did just a couple of days after we had planned to hang out. You stabbed me in the heart when you cheated, and selfishly and heartlessly walked away from my cries. You're a shameless donkey. And not answering or returning any of his messages. You replied to quite a few of my messages to negatively converse. Or phone calls. Like you did immediately after you cheated, and immediately after you lied about being sick on the day we were supposed to hang out again. It's disgusting how badly you toyed with my broken heart. It's fairly obvious in how I acted that I didn't want to see him again. True, but I was trying to change your mind when I was brainwashing myself to believe that I ruined everything. Minds can be changed. You did accept the apology letter and presents. Your behavior was very confusing. Now I never want you back. You're nothing but a coward. What was his reaction to that? He just didn't understand, like I don't think it got through to him that I didn't want to see him. Again, minds can be changed, and I tried every trick in the book to reverse the negative image that you had of me. It wasn't until later that I realized you only hate me for knowing that you're nothing but a lying, cheating whore. Everything you ever did was to shield your guilt because you're a shameless coward. And he wanted, like, a logical, rational explanation as to why I wasn't talking to him. Like, he wanted it all in detail, because I don't think he understood that I didn't want to see him. You kept toying with my broken heart. You spontaneously ignored me after we planned to hang out again. You went from bugging me to have sex with you again, to ignoring me again, and it's sickening. All I ever wanted you to do was convince me that you did nothing wrong. It's obvious that you only hate me because I remind you of your self-hatred for cheating. Falsely accusing me of being the troll, falsely, ironically, you're a lawyer, and hypocritically accusing me of assaulting you for merely hugging and holding you when you hit me multiple times and bit me, and falsely, ironically, you're a lawyer, and hypocritically accusing me of stalking when you stalked me 2 cities away. It's all nothing but a giant guilt shield. Nobody is that hypocritical. You took all of the minor mistakes that I had made and artificially inflated them to compensate for your guilt. You're a coward. Why can't you just apologize? But he didn't understand why. Because you're the one that cheated. You held your stupid belief that I was the troll against me when I explained to you many times that I wasn't. You basically told me that you lied to have sex with me, which made me unable to stop calling you because I didn't want to believe it. Instead of trying to calm me down, you kept telling the police to tell me to never talk to you again. On the day that we were supposed to hang out again, you lied about being sick. When I ran into you, you kept ignoring me. You falsely accused me of assaulting you when I hugged and held you in so much pain. You told me to die when I fell down and cried. You wouldn't let me rot in peace on the benches in my own area because of your stupid belief that I was stalking you. You came out of nowhere to yell at me twice when I was trying my hardest to merely make peace. You let the police throw me in jail. On the day of the trial is when you decided to just drop the case, robbing me of being able to stand up for myself. Everything I did was nothing but a justified reaction to your horrid behavior. You have no reason to hate me. I have every reason to hate you. Everything you did to me was just you lashing out at being caught. Apart from the 2 times where he physically grabbed you, was he ever violent with you at all? No. See, I was never violent. You were. You slapped me very hard on the chest at least 6 times throughout our relationship, and bit me once, yet I never told on you. Especially not the police. You made me feel like a woman beater. I non-violently hugged you because I thought you were going to hug me back. I non-violently held you because I didn't want you to disappear forever behind that door. I let go once I realized you wouldn't cooperate. You never tried to break away, nor did you ever tell me to let go. Has Alex ever touched you or encroached on your personal space? There's the 2 times where he actually grabbed you, and then the time when you were at the dance. Yeah, that time for sure. What did you expect me to do? Just let the guy whom I thought to be a complete stranger take my place? He had his arm around you and wash-harsh flirting with you. It looked like you ditched me and our dance to flirt with a complete stranger. Of course I was going to try to get you away from him. I couldn't understand why you weren't cooperating. I only vocally and physically, yet non-violently, tried to persuade you to go away with me from him. I didn't know what was going on. Had you communicated with me, I would have cooperated. Any other incidents where he was really in your personal space? There was another time last year. We were at UBC together, and then I didn't really want to talk to him or anything, so I think we got into a little fight or something, and then he followed me home on the bus. We had planned to take the same bus home, and I didn't want to be beside him on the bus, so I got off at McDonald Street before my house, and then I just called my mom to come pick me up because I didn't want to be around him, and then he actually tried to physically prevent me from getting into the car, and then I got into it, but then he was still reaching inside like he was trying to drag me out. I wasn't trying to drag you out. I hugged you so you wouldn't drive off, as I wanted to keep talking to you. And then someone on the street said leave her alone, like get away, and then he finally just got away. Yeah, I acted like a big baby sometimes. So did you. I could talk about everything wrong you did, but then I'd never stop talking. Clearly. If you really cared about all the bullshit I ever did the day before you cheated, you would have agreed with my choice to just be friends. You didn't. You kept bugging me to have sex with you. I didn't want to become more than just friends again. I knew anything beyond friendship wouldn't work. I hate myself for trusting you. Had I never done so, we still would have been friends today. Then again, it's better now that I know what kind of person you truly are. Has Alex ever threatened you? Yeah, well, not to do anything physically, but he threatened to charge me with things like to call the police on me. He kind of threatened to send this conversation to some of my friends, and I don't know why that would be. While sitting on a bench in my own area, just minding my own business, the police came out of nowhere to accuse me of talking to you that day when I never did. I thought you were lying to them and feared that you would continue to do so until I went to prison. I told them to tell you to leave me alone, but that didn't do anything. I felt that I could only stop the madness by threatening to send the conversation to all of your friends, so they'd learn that you're a lying, cheating whore. It was a justified threat, for I didn't want to live in constant fear in my own area anymore. It wouldn't have been such a bad thing for everyone to know what kind of person you truly are anyway, so history doesn't repeat itself. I don't want you to do to the next guy what you did to me. Turned out that the police had made an assumption. They tried to call you for more clarification as to what the problem was, but you never picked up the phone. Turns out that the problem was my mere nearby existence in my own area that you happened to share. Threatened to charge you with what when he said that he would phone the police on you? Sexual assault. You lied to have sex with me and thus fraudulently gained my consent. We made out in your bedroom and almost had sex. What you did can be classified as sexual assault. It's called rape by fraud. Even if what you did isn't rape, I still feel used and violated. Stalking? Yeah, when you followed me 2 cities away from your home, even though I kept telling you to go away, and ran a few times. Why are you allowed to follow me so far away from your home, and for so long, yet I'm not allowed to briefly follow you in my own area? And inflicting post-traumatic stress disorder. Everything you did to me is sick, inhumane, and disgusts me to this very day. Has he ever tried to blackmail you? Well, I guess by threatening to send the conversation to my friends. That was only to stop you from lying to the police. It was justified. I had every right not to feel threatened in my own area. It's not my fault that the stupid police had made a false assumption. Is that a conversation between you and him? It's a conversation between me and someone else. A complete stranger. But I'm pretty sure that it was either one of his friends or him. Again with your stupid belief that I had anything to do with the stupid troll. Was I not popular on YouTube? Did you not have a couple of popular videos on my YouTube channel? Were you not known to be my girlfriend? Was your name not known? Did I not link my tagged profile onto my YouTube channel? Were you not amongst just a few other tagged friends? It's obvious that the troll found you through my YouTube channel and then thought it would be funny to test your loyalty. It's not hard to comprehend. Then he sent me screen caps of the cheating conversation. And I didn't know who it was at the time? Because you thought he was a complete stranger. I was just talking to someone? Agreeing to fuck an invasive and complete stranger in his house immediately after coffee in just a few days. We had just promised to only have sex with each other, and I had just moved close to you. You immediately gave him your phone number, and I found you where you had planned to meet him at the specified time. Every excuse you gave me only dug you into a deeper hole. And he accused me of cheating on him? I don't know. I didn't. Just because you were caught before you were able to have sex with someone else doesn't mean you didn't cheat. The fact that you planned to have sex with someone else is equivalent to already doing so. Attempted cheating is still cheating. You and I both know that you would have had sex with him behind my back if he was real. Then you would have continued to have sex with me while I thought you were keeping your promise. You would have continued to trick me into consenting and probably would have had sex with numerous other guys behind my back, eventually giving me a few STDs. I wouldn't be surprised if you had already actually cheated on me numerously in the past. The bottom line is that you cannot be trusted. It was only a conversation, so I wasn't cheating on him. You can't be that stupid. It was not only a conversation. The very first thing you did was agree to make out with him, then you agreed to have sex with him in his house after coffee in just a few days, and then you actually tried to meet the bastard. All of your excuses are bullshit. Stop digging. Next thing you know, you'll find yourself in China, and you and I both know how much you unfairly hate the Chinese for invading Canada. So you think he orchestrated some conversation? Yeah. You chose to believe that I had something to do with the troll to pull away focus from the fact that you cheated. Your stupid belief is nothing but a guilt shield. I think he wanted to know if I was loyal to him in a relationship because he was very possessive of me. Even if I had anything to do with the troll, how could you blame me for acting upon my suspicions to uncover the truth? Would it have been better to bottle them to continue living a lie? If you were truly honest, there wouldn't have been any to act upon. Although I wasn't the troll, it wouldn't have mattered if I was. It wouldn't have made me jealous, controlling, or possessive. It only would have saved myself from living a lie with a whore disguised as a goody girl. I actually was suspicious, but I doubt that I would have acted upon it because I wanted to trust you. Thankfully, that troll, whom I had nothing to do with, did all the work for me. At the end of the day, the truth was uncovered, and that's all that matters. Stop shielding your guilt with bullshit. So he was basically trying to find out if I would have been flirtatious with other guys. I wasn't trying to find that out myself, but thanks to the troll, the truth found me, and you weren't being flirtatious, you were downright cheating. So he has this conversation? Yeah, I think so. I sure do. And he's threatened to disseminate it to your friends? To stop you from lying to the police, so that I would stop living in constant fear in my own area. It wasn't until much later that I discovered that you didn't lie to the police, and the police didn't lie to me. They just gave me the false assumption when they accused me of talking to you that day. I hadn't talked to you since the night you waited for me to walk up to you at the intersection. They should have waited for you to answer their calls for clarification as to why they got a call earlier that day. Because of their false assumption, I felt the need to act upon the belief that you wouldn't stop lying to them, and because I sent you that one email too many, I went to jail shortly after. I felt that if I did nothing, however, you would keep lying to them, and I would have gone to jail anyway. I felt trapped and didn't know what else to do, for I had told the police to tell you to leave me alone, but that obviously did nothing. The threat was justified. In a way, it was self-defense. Yeah, but I blocked him on Facebook, so I don't think he can contact them. I can if I want to. Does Alex believe that you're still in love with him? Sometimes in his emails, he'd say that the reason that you hate me is because you're still in love with me, and if you were truly not, you'd be indifferent. It's true. Hate is love, and you cannot hate or love unless you care. The fact that you can't talk to me shows that you fear getting hurt if you did, and you cannot hurt if you do not care. If you were indifferent, you wouldn't fear getting hurt if you talked to me, and therefore you would. Feelings can never truly dissipate after a relationship ends. Deny it all you want, but that's just the way it is. You hate me for knowing the truth, and I hate you for knowing the truth. And the fact that you love me means that you actually care about me. No, I meant the fact that you hate me means that you still care. So maybe he still thinks I do. But you do still care. If you didn't, you'd talk to me again. I'm glad you still care because unless you're going to apologize or somehow convince me that you did nothing wrong, I don't want you to talk to me again. Keep running away from your guilt, coward. Does Alex love you but realize that you are not in love with him? I don't know if he loves me, but I'm assuming that he cares enough about me to do these crazy things, but I don't know if it's really love or if that's just him being obsessed. You're right. I do care. I do care that my first love and best friend for nearly 4 years cheated on me with an invasive and complete stranger. I do care that you lied to have sex with me. I do care that you let your friend tell me that he was going to have sex with you. I do care that you kept ignoring my cries. That you kept telling the police to tell me to never talk to you again. That you lied about being sick on the day we were supposed to hang out again. On the day I thought you were going to convince me that you did nothing wrong. That you kept spreading false accusations. That you had me thrown in jail. That you let the police put a giant forbidden square right in front of my home and banned me from UBC until the matter was settled in court. That you made me fear going to prison for so long. That you cowardly dropped the harassment charge on the day of the trial, thus robbing me of being able to stand up for myself. That you made me unable to trust a girl ever again. I will always love the girl I thought you were, even though that girl never existed, and therefore I will always hate the reality of who you truly are. I'm obsessed because I will never understand how someone who I truly loved and truly loved me back in return could hurt me so much. I hope a deer rapes you. You make me sick. I hope a deer rapes you. You make me sick. Has he ever become overly angry with you? Yeah, he can get very, very aggressive and angry. And it's kind of scary, actually, when he gets really angry. He's just a very loud person sometimes, and when he gets angry, he's very strongly built and really tall, so he can be very imposing. With every reaction, there must have been an equal action. Remember that. So it's a bit scary. He can get really angry sometimes. Like when I thought you replaced me with a complete stranger at the nightclub, and then watched me get dragged out for reacting to not having a clue what was going on. How could the things you did not anger anyone? Does he swear or does he call you names? No. Quite unlike the numerous times you swore at me and called me names. Is there any chance that Alex might be wanting to get back at you for something right now, like he's being vindictive? Does he feel like you have wronged him? Yeah, I think he feels that I've wronged him because he thinks that I kind of messed him up psychologically because I was the first girlfriend he had and then I left him. I left you. You just refused to revive our friendship. It wasn't much long after until I realized you had given me a gift when you did. You did mess me up, psychologically and emotionally, for I hate knowing that my first love and best friend for around 3 years was nothing but an illusion, and she's the easiest girl in the world. And I broke his heart and just left him really upset and traumatized. Do I need to go over all the things you did to me again? Is Alex paranoid or delusional? He sometimes seems delusional because it's kind of delusional that he thinks that we would get back together. I don't want to get back together with you. I want you off my fucking planet, you shameless whore. I only did before when I was stupidly brainwashing myself to believe that I ruined everything, and even then, I pretty much just wanted to be your friend again and nothing more. After all this time, and I don't know about paranoid. You and your mom are paranoid for constantly monitoring me like vultures when I was harmless and just minding my own business in my own area. Are you aware of any mental illnesses that he might have? He told me in the past that he was diagnosed with autism as a child, but I'm not sure if he still has it. I don't think I ever had it. My behavior was not a result of autism. It was the result of having my heart torturously played with. Tell me about his relationship with his family. He's very separated from his family, and he doesn't ever really see them ever. I don't think. Like he used to because he was living in New Westminster until January. I never want to see them again. But after he moved out, his mom actually told me that she's worried about him because she never hears from him, and I don't think he talks to his dad or his sisters, so he doesn't talk to his family very much. Do you know why? No, I'm not sure. I think it's just because he's going through a hard time. I hate the way they treated me, and I hate that my parents robbed me of something that belonged to me. Circumcision is disgusting, and it even causes brain damage. How has your life changed since all of this happened? I don't know. I felt very stressed out and I'm already very busy with schoolwork and other stuff in my life, so just this on top of everything is really stressful right now. That's your fault, for all I ever did was justifiably react to your cruelty. I tried my best to make peace, but you wouldn't stop stabbing me in the heart. Maybe next time you won't cheat on your man and then bury him under a rock to run away from his cries. And sometimes I felt even a bit afraid for my own safety because I felt like his behavior was very unpredictable and that he could react however at any time. Did you fear for your safety or did you not? I keep seeing contradictions. Make up your bloody mind and don't say that you did because that's bullshit. You know that I'd never hurt you and that I always tried my best to make peace. My behavior was not unpredictable. It mirrored yours, you dumbass. Maybe if you didn't come out of nowhere to insult me twice when I was just minding my own business, and after I had just given you a handwritten apology letter, I never should have apologized, and sold all of my consoles to give you a diamond ring, that I'm glad I got back because you don't deserve it, I wouldn't have gotten so angry. Stop being such a pussy. A man can only endure so much bullshit. Why couldn't you at least respect me and whatever I did in my own area? I had told you why I was on those benches around those coffee shops for so long, but you just believed whatever you wanted. Or when he was living by my house, and I felt like it was kind of uncomfortable for me to just walk freely along the street by my house, because I was afraid that he'd bump into me, and so that was kind of stressful. Excluding the times where you came out of nowhere to insult me, I left you alone immediately whenever you told me to. You knew that all you ever had to do was tell me to go away. I only hesitated a few times nearer to the beginning, and most of those times were before you told me that it's over forever. I only came up to you to talk, to show you that I was able to respect whatever you wanted. All I ever wanted was for us to live peacefully in the same area. I didn't deserve all of those nasty glares from your mom. I didn't like that she came out of nowhere to bug me twice, and I hated the feeling of always being monitored like a hawk. We could have talked everything over at a coffee shop so that we could at least understand each other, but you chose not to. You wanted to continue to live in your imaginary world where I'm a creepy stalker out to get you. I did nothing wrong. All I ever did was justifiably react to your constant stabbing me in the heart, and then burying me under a rock to run away from my cries. Your negative image of me is formed solely upon misunderstandings, assumptions, and lies. You cheated. You should have moved away. I had the right to live peacefully in my own area that you happened to share. And especially the times where you would make loud scenes at my house, then that was stressful and embarrassing because the neighbors could hear what was going on. While looking down, blowing my nose, minding my own business, and walking home from culprit, I heard you, out of nowhere, insult me for blowing my nose. I looked up to see you, creepily looming from the darkness, crossing your arms at the intersection, just waiting for me to walk up to you. It looked like you were stalking me, but I now assume that our paths almost crossing was coincidental, and that you looked to your right to see me when you heard me blow my nose, as you were about to turn left. You kept insulting me, and I couldn't understand why you couldn't at least respect the fact I was trying my best to make peace. I had just given you a handwritten apology letter and a diamond ring. I couldn't bottle Satan in a thin glass jar anymore. You kept provoking me until it exploded, and I had to stand up for myself. Had you merely told me to go away, I would have continued my way on the other side of the street. But no, you said, "Ew, that's disgusting," when I was merely blowing my nose, and you proceeded to accuse me of stalking you. We happened to be walking in the same direction, for your home was en route between mine and culprit. And then it's embarrassing when the police have to come, and it's really disruptive in my life. You never had to call the police. All you ever had to do was communicate with me so that we could clear all misunderstandings of each other. You chose to be stubborn and falsely believe whatever you wanted. So there is a level of fear that you feel? Not immediate fear, it's just kind of like a fear that he could do something possibly if he ever gets so upset. Anyone could do anything if they're upset enough. Then again, you've maximized my anger many times, and I still never hurt you. Maybe if you never acted like such a bitch, I wouldn't have gotten so angry. If the past dictates the future, I actually have a bigger reason to be more fearful of you than you do me, considering that you've actually hit me numerously and even bit me once. Stop playing the victim. What's the one thing he's done in the past that makes you the most fearful? Probably when he climbed over my gate to get into my house. Oh no! Did I climb over the gate? That was just once a long time ago, and I never did it again. And also when he physically tried to block me from getting into my home. Briefly and non-violently, because I feared that you would disappear forever behind the door. Why were you allowed to hit and bite me, but I wasn't allowed to hug or hold you? Stop playing the victim. Are there any other people that are affected by his behavior? My mom feels stressed by the whole situation. She never had a reason to. Does he have a tendency towards emotional outbursts and rage? I think before January, when we were just dating and seeing each other as friends. Just dating and seeing each other as friends? Contradiction, no? We were in an open relationship for a while. Then he wasn't the type to get angry really suddenly, but he occasionally did get angry, and especially after January, he would get angry. Oh, you mean because you cheated on me? Yeah, that's a good starting trigger. Did he ever exhibit sexual jealousy? Probably when he or his friend did that conversation. I had nothing to do with the troll. What part of that don't you understand? He did the conversation himself, and that was basically being possessive of me, because if I was liking another guy or something, he would get really angry. Again, if I was actually the troll, how could you blame me for rightfully acting upon my suspicions to uncover the truth? Would it have been better to bottle them up and continue living a lie? That's actually what I was doing. Had you not been suspicious, there would have been nothing to act upon. Unfortunately, you are not an honest person. You were very suspicious, but guess what? I never acted upon it. The truth found me. It's not like you even passed the test. You failed miserably. You weren't showing that you merely liked another guy. You immediately agreed to fuck him and even tried to meet him. Whether or not I had anything to do with the troll is absolutely meaningless because you failed the test miserably, and at the end of the day, that's all that counts. Do you think he wants to harm you? I don't know really, but I don't think so. See, you acknowledge the fact that I would never hurt you, so stop trying to make me look like a woman beater. So there's been many times that Alex has followed you? Yeah. Can you tell me a little bit about the following behavior, like where it happens and how it stops? Usually it was outside my house. Sometimes I followed you inside your home? I would have been at the bus stop, and then he would just be there. You mean when my 9:30 a.m. Monday and Wednesday UBC tennis lessons coincided with some of your classes? If we lived in the same area, shared the same bus stop, and twice a week for a few months needed to be somewhere at UBC at the same time, then we were occasionally bound to arrive at the bus stop at the same time. Did you not see me holding a tennis racket? Every time we arrived at that bus stop at the same time, was it not always a Monday or Wednesday? And not leave me alone. I did eventually leave you alone every time. All I did was ever ask you a few questions that you always answered. You crushed my soul and left me in the dark. Of course I was going to take advantage of the coincidental arrivals. And try to give me a present or something. Like the diamond ring that you took. And sometimes, when I was walking home from work or school, he would be following me. Well, not really, like he never followed me from behind. He did it in kind of a secretive way. I never followed you anyway. Every time I saw you, I either coincidentally ran into you or approached you after coincidentally spotting you from afar while minding my own business. I was outside a lot because I liked being outside a lot, and it was summer. I never made intricate plans for a pass to cross with you. Stop being so paranoid. And then he would come up to me and stand next to me and then try to talk to me while I was walking, and I would just kind of ignore him, and then he would just keep talking and talking. Every time he told me to go, I immediately cooperated. What kind of gifts did he give you? Once he gave me a diamond ring that he apparently sold a bunch of stuff to buy. Yeah, you ungrateful bitch. And another time he gave me a necklace that I saw you wearing in the bus around 1 month later. And another time he gave me flowers, and then kind of left them at my building, and then he gave me a few letters and cards. You took the handwritten apology letter from my hand and listened to me talk for a while. Do you have any of the letters or cards? I think so. I have a few of them at home. You said some of them are disturbing. Why? Well, I guess they're not too disturbing. Just disturbing to me, because they show that he was still wrapped up with thinking about me. We were best friends for around 3 years, and you were my first love, which unfortunately I cannot change. Of course I tried every trick in the book to win you back, while I was brainwashing myself to believe that I ruined everything. Unfortunately, I still can't help but think about you every now and then, which I hate. I truly wish I could erase you from my memory. Now this past weekend, did you receive a series of phone calls? Yeah, it was a bit past 12 a.m., and I had just gotten a lot of phone calls in a row, blocked calls from, I didn't pick up, but I heard the message and it was from people. I don't think it was him, but it was other people talking about him, and talking about how he was here with them crying, and how he was really upset that they were also mentioning the ring that he gave me. I had nothing to do with that. I had merely told my story to everyone on Skype, trolls and fans, and always mentioned the ring. You must have given your number out, you always give it out immediately when asked, to a few trolls that had already heard my story. I'm glad they bothered you though, I think it's pretty funny. Saying that he had sold a lot of things to get the ring, and that it was really mean of me to be ignoring him when he had done that. I'm glad I got it back, you ungrateful bitch. And yeah, they were talking in a weird accent, and left like 10 messages on my phone, or even more I think. What were the messages? Basically just talking to me about the same thing, like how he was crying. Thanks for making me look bad, trolls. So the messages are not him? Yeah, there's some people that he knows probably, because they were definitely talking about him specifically, and they were talking about this ring, and saying that he was crying there, and that he had told them to call me. Probably a bunch of trolls that I told my story to, and that you later gave your number to. I never told anyone to call you, but I'm still glad they had a little fun with you. They were saying Alex wants me to talk to you. Lies. Bad, trolls, bad. Why would I risk going to prison by telling them to talk to you when the court ordered no direct or indirect contact? They said that? I'm not sure if those were the exact words, like I could double check, but they definitely implied that they were doing it because Alex wanted them to do it because he was upset. All a bunch of bullshit.